Hello there, namaste. So I finally started the series Paatal Lok. All right, the series is highly recommended, and I gotta say, when it just started out, I had no clue what Paatal Lok meant, and he's basically talking about how there is, like, those who have studied Hinduism understand like the three realms. There's heaven, earth, and then the demon realm, the Paatal Lok, the netherworld, the hell, basically. And he was basically talking about that consistently, and I'm like, so the ones in the big city, the ones in the high towers, those are the ones in heaven. Then there's the regular every average day folk, which is basically the earthly folk. And then the ones in the slums, they're in hell. They're in the netherworld. And it was just like, I liked that breakdown of everything. I liked the explanation. It was just like, this is how the cop sees everything. And we're introduced to this cop who, you like him and don't like him because he's able to call out someone who is doing something deceitful to his spouse, just seeing him return home late. He called it out immediately and is like, this is a good cop. But this series, I have no clue where it's going. I watched the first episode and I'm like, you know what? I'll do a review for the first episode. I'll power through it and then review the entire thing. But you don't know what's going on. It establishes that four men are arrested. Allegedly, they're targeting a journalist. And what's funny is like the journalist starts being hounded by other journalists, and it's just like he's on the receiving end of what he does to other people, like being in their face with the camera, because it's just a story. It's a story. They're hounds or they're hyenas traveling, or I guess it would be vultures traveling around a carcass, just trying to get their part of it. They'll wander around. So it's very interesting for that. But you don't know who's targeting him or whether they're targeting him. You don't know if the whole thing is staged, because I am of the opinion that the Delhi police, who are refusing to give out information, are actually the ones who are the bad guys. Like, they are corrupt, and maybe he was trying to figure out something. Or maybe the cops are on the take with someone he's investigating. The journalist is investigating. Maybe that's what's going on. So they staged the whole thing, or who, I don't know. I don't know. But I gotta say, with how they're seeding everything, with how they're introducing each character, you like the journalist because he leans in being like, journalism became a comedic show. You don't know what people believe because it's like social media. Someone does a dance and then everyone starts doing a dance because it's what's popular, even though it lasts for only 30 minutes of popularity, and then everyone stops doing it because the next dance pops up. It's what the media became. They started becoming hounds, just going to the next thing. Whether there is confirmed reports that he was actually being targeted, the nobody knows. It's alleged. There is no evidence that they were targeting him, none whatsoever. It's just what the Delhi police leaked, because for some reason, as soon as the officers from Delhi tell them, like the officers in the small town in the slums, everything's leaked. So it's like the head of the slums office department is blaming the one who's put in charge of the case. But no, it's obvious that the Delhi police are the ones who leaked it. They want something going on. I mean, I'm finding it interesting. Apparently this is a really dark show, and it probably has more dark things in it that I'm not a fan of. I don't like dark stuff. But the way this is done, I gotta say, is just so well done, because I'm watching it with my the love of my life. I'm watching it with the love of my life, and we both had different opinions when the because the wife is calling her husband, and there are reporters outside, and the husband, she's panicking and trying to get her husband to comfort her when he is the one whose life is at risk. So I'm defending the guy, because it's just like, why does she focus? And she's all, no, you have to look at it from her perspective. It's like, but he's the one suffering. He's the one who has a target put it on his back. But that's all alleged. He wasn't going to run the report in his news media, so you find respect for him. And I was like, I like this guy. And then what does he do? Instead of going into the house to meet his panicking wife, who should be comforting him, even though she's thinking about herself because of what happened to him, so she's panicking and wants him to return because she's panicking for him, so she's panicking because she cares. It's a confusing thing. I'll never understand it. I won't, and I'm married. I'll never understand it. But I find it fascinating because I was on his side, and then what does he do? He walks down, heads to a bar, and ends up, well, yeah. Those of you who've seen it know exactly what he did. Especially with a colleague, a young colleague who's, well, I guess an employee at that point. Someone beneath him, much beneath him. Oh, I like the way this series is playing out. I like the officer. I like even like the officer's own tension, like the story he has going with his wife. I like the fact that he has a son that doesn't seem to like where he's at in life. The father worked hard to get his son into a better school, only for his son not to care because his friends are in a different school, so he doesn't put in the work and just does the bare minimum for himself. I gotta say, I'm finding this interesting. I'm curious on where it's gonna go. I want the mystery to play out. I want to know what was the point, what was on that phone, how did people hear that they were there to target somebody? Because we overheard the one thing in the beginning of the episode where the not the waiter, the guy bringing the room service overhears something, but it's not enough to call the cops and have them arrested, and he basically comes to them to get a bill. If you know someone's gonna hunt someone down, you don't come to them and ask for a bill. You stay away and let the cops. So he wasn't the one that leaked anything. He didn't call the cops. So that's why I'm like, the reason why they jumped and cut corners to arrest them is because there is something more going on. There is something more going on. I'm liking this series. I'll just power through, get the whole thing done. Probably have a review of the entire series up in a week, maybe, if I can finish it in time, and then I'll continue on to season 2, since that's already out. But yeah, this series, very gritty, very down to earth. Well, not really, but I guess down to earth. But yeah, the whole explanation, I could feel the tone of what this series is going to be just with the officer's explanation in the beginning. Like, he's been a cop for 15 years, talking to a cop who's a rookie who's been there for 3 months, trying to explain to him where they're at. They're not in Delhi. They're in Paatal Lok. They're in the netherworld. They're dealing with the slums, the place that no one cares about. And the case in point is, they're going to rescue a woman who's being battered by her husband. They start beating the husband, and then the woman starts hitting the cops because they're beating her husband who is beating her. So it's like, dude, what the heck is going on here? What the heck is going on here? But I gotta say, I find the show very interesting. I'll probably have different feelings depending on how dark it gets. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it so far. It has this, even some of the shots are beautiful. Some of the shots are beautiful. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens here. Thank y'all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.